don't understand the question.
Like, when is your job done?
No such thing. Well, because jobs don't have like summer vacations. Number one. And number two, in Daddy's case, the job that he has, not only do I like what I do, but I'm kind of like semi-retired. Like, I don't really work too much. Coming in? It's not. Today is Monday, May 29th, 2017, and we are on our way to school. Dun, 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 dun. Here's the story.
And I'm sick.
Yeah, because they went to the pool in the cold, and we told them it's too cold outside. No, we want to go, Daddy, can we go? And since I have like a soft heart for my kids, I was like, fine, let's go. And now she's sick.
No, that was Mommy's fault.
No, it's your fault. You guys wanted to go to the pool in the cold.
I told Mommy I don't want to go anymore, but she said...
No, that's a lie. Because
No,
you...
it's not. She forced us.
No, that is not true.
Yes,
Because
it
you
is.
sent me a text message saying, I only said that I didn't want to go because Mommy doesn't want to go. Mm-hmm. Oh, you forgot about that, right? They think I'm a sucker. They're wrong. Alright, let's go. Qué rica vida la tuya, Frijol. Well, today is Monday, May 29, 2017, and I am heading to my former Forest Avenue branch where I used to be an advisor there. Now I'm just an advisor in Oradell. And the reason why I'm going is because although I no longer cover Forest Avenue, they have about 40 million of my assets under management there at that branch, and a significant amount of that money is retirement money. So it makes sense for me to meet with them and to train them on these ridiculous Department of Labor changes that are occurring starting June 9th of 2017, in which stupid lawmakers either, in my opinion, are in cahoots with 401k companies, or are just the ignoramuses, the liberal ignoramuses that they are, and think that they're helping clients by instituting these ridiculous rules and regulations that in reality are only hurting investors. So just to exemplify or tell you what those changes are, let me give you an example. By now, you kids are probably old enough, hopefully watching this video, to have, you know, money, some type of a job. And if you don't have money yet, don't worry. I don't know how old you are, but you're my children, so I'm sure you'll do well, right? You'll follow in your father's footsteps in whatever career you decide to take on. But once you have money, and once you have a retirement account, what if I come to you and I say to you, hey, I can give you an investment in the stock market where you can make up to 10% per year, and we're gonna protect you up to 10% per year on the downside. So if the market pulls back 10%, we're going to absorb that first 10% so that you don't experience that first 10% of loss. And guess what? We're not gonna charge you anything for this investment either. Sounds good, right? Well, it is good, but guess what? Because of the stupid lawmakers in the Department of Labor, can't offer it to you anymore. Why? Because the Department of Labor lawmakers think that it's too expensive for you. Although I just said, yes, it's fucking free. But their theory is that money coming from a 401k, as an example, because 401ks tend to be cheaper than a lot of IRA accounts that an advisor like me would offer a client, that it's in the best interest of the client to stay in a 401k and not make this type of an investment available to a client, although again, it's fucking free. What can you do? There are idiots in this world, and one of the things that I learned is that all you can do is roll with the punches and do what you can. you know, and always think forward too, because right now this is a significant impact to people in my career and in my industry. However, thank God I'm in a good position because I made some wise decisions. I built a managed book of business, meaning that although I don't get paid a salary at my firm and I work purely on commission, a large part of my book of clients are in managed accounts, meaning that we charge them anywhere up to 1.45% per year for us to manage the money for them. And I receive anywhere up to about 40% of that money per year, of course paid out to me on a monthly basis. So I currently today have a little under 30 million in managed money. So you do the math. Let's say 1% on 30 million. You do the math, and then take 40% of that. That's what I get paid per year on that business alone. Then of course there's other business that I do, other investments that I offer clients where I can get an upfront, where I might get 1% of the money up front, or even 2%, and in some cases 4% upfront, which is where the rest of my money is made. But you know, it's only because I, you know, built a managed book of business, and praise God, I started this business at the right time. Because people coming into my business today, they're not going to make it, because they're not going to be able to build a retirement book of business the way that I did. So, you know, unless they get paid a significant salary by an investment firm, they're not going to make it, you know. So I thank God that I am where I am today. I'm thankful for my job. I have a tremendous amount of flexibility. You kids will probably remember from your childhood that I was able to spend a lot of time with you guys, and that sometimes you guys would even say, Daddy, you know, when do you work? Are you working today? Because you would notice that I wouldn't be in the office, and that I'd have the freedom to go to your school trips. You might even remember that there are times in which I said that I consider myself semi-retired. And the reason why, it's because, thank God, you know, this job that I have in Oradell with JP Morgan Chase and the book of business that I built allows me the flexibility to come and go as I please. If I don't have any appointments with clients, you know, my partners, they don't give me a hard time if I'm not in the branch, because they get it. You know, I only make money if I'm meeting with an existing client or meeting with a new client. And if they're not putting appointments on my calendar, which is how I get appointments, by the way, I have a team of bankers whose job is to put appointments on my calendar, right? It's great. I love it. And that, by the way, should be a business lesson for you. You want to get to a position where other people are finding business for you, not you. And it takes time to get there. This didn't happen overnight. It took me over a decade to finally get to where I am today, which would be a second business lesson for you. Success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. Technically speaking, not allowed to record on ranch grounds, but I'll let you take a look at the branch. That's Forest Avenue. That's where I used to work. In fact, this was my first branch when I joined JP Morgan Chase. This was supposed to be my my primary branch, but then instead Oradell became my primary branch. Over and out. See you next recording. All right. Well, now I'm leaving my former Forest Avenue branch, and I'm heading back to my Oradell office. And I'm going to use the Forest Avenue story as an example of how in life you're going to have to learn to deal with people's poor decisions in the corporate world. So, as I mentioned in the previous recording, Forest Avenue was my first branch that I came into. And from there, the Bergen Mall branch was also added to my roster of branches, and I started there with those 2 branches. And then about 3 to 6 months into my time here at JP Morgan, the market director that I had, his name was Dan Kelleher, he decided to put me into Oradell, which is one of the largest branches in the North Jersey area. A lot of potential and opportunity, etc. Now, as a side note, here's another story that I'll share with you. I found out afterwards, Dan Kelleher, like several months after I'm in Oradell doing well, etc., I forgot how it came up, where I think I say to this guy Dan, I say to him, I'm like, hey Dan, listen, so he was talking about a client that spoke Spanish or whatever. A lot of money that they were looking to invest. So I say to Dan, I was like, hey Dan, listen, if you need help with this client who speaks Spanish, let me know, man. Like, Spanish, I'm very fluent in it. It's my first language. He says to me, you speak Spanish? I'm like, yeah. He was like, where's your family from? I say, well, I was born here, but my family's from Ecuador. He says to me, really? I thought that you were Italian. I find out that the only reason why he put me in Oradell was because he thought I was Italian. What I mean by that is, he thought I was talented, clearly. But he didn't know that I was Latino and that I spoke Spanish. Afterwards, he got fired for other reasons. And he and I remained friends. And one day I took him out for a drink to thank him because he got me a seat at the table, meaning that he's the one who hired me. And I asked him, I was like, Dan, so are you trying to tell me that had you known that I spoke Spanish, you wouldn't have put me in Oradell? Or that you put me in Oradell because you thought I was Italian? He was like, yeah, your last name is Rosario. I thought that it was Italian. He was like that he probably would have put me into a more Spanish-speaking branch, which unfortunately, in today's age, primarily Spanish-speaking branches are not the most affluent. There's not a lot of money there. So, the moral of that story is, be proud to be Latino. Be proud that you speak Spanish. Learn Spanish, but also be smart. Know that people are ignorant, and that one of our selling points should not be that we speak Spanish. It should be something that we keep in our pocket and use only if we see it as something that will give us a definitive advantage. Something that really makes a difference in our money-making capabilities or in the opportunities presented to us. Otherwise, know that, unfortunately, allowing these crackers to think that we're a cracker just like them sometimes is something we got to do. And it's a sad reality. I don't like it. I'm proud to be Latino. That's something we got to deal with and work around when it comes to our careers and money-making ability. Okay, so back to Forest Avenue and poor decisions that you're going to have to learn to deal with as part of your business life and world. So I was given Oradell, and eventually the topic of conversation came where my new market director, Michael Hay, said I have to choose between either Oradell or keeping Forest Avenue and the Bergen Mall branch. Now, at the time, I wanted to keep Oradell because Oradell, at least on paper, looks like it has the most opportunity. And plus, unfortunately, I made an ego mistake, which was I didn't want to have to explain to people why I was no longer covering a top 10 branch in the country. Because I felt that if I was no longer covering that branch, that it would look as if I failed, as if I was removed due to lack of production. So, the agreement that I had with my market director, Michael Hay, was that he would, if he took me out of Forest Avenue and Bergen Mall branch, that he would do so gradually, that he would allow me enough time to build my managed book of business so that if I'm just in Oradell and have no appointments, that I won't suffer financially. I was first supposed to just lose the Bergen Mall branch, and then maybe a year later lose Forest Avenue. Well, that didn't happen that way. Instead, Michael Hay decided in December of 2016 that effective immediately, I would only represent Oradell. His reasoning being that since Oradell was such a large branch, that it merited having a full-time advisor there. A full-time advisor who doesn't travel in between other branches. And since he considered me one of his A advisors, he wanted me to be full-time in that branch. This is an example of how sometimes in life, you could do very good. And being good results in you having to take a loss. That doesn't mean you don't be good. You be the best that you can be, because that's what gives you other opportunities. But it means that there are stupid people in this world. Or people who have good intentions, but they just make poor decisions. And when they make those poor decisions, the best way for you to react to it is to communicate your disagreement, but to do it in a non-argumentative type of way, in a professional tone, in a tone that does not sound like you are fighting the system. The way that I